It's the Chris Salcedo Show, folks. I am your liberty-loving Latino. Do not confuse me with loudmouth leftist Latinos out there. I actually love my country, love my state, the United States of America, and the great state of Texas. We have a lot to talk about with our guest this morning. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, representing the 11th Congressional District in the once great state of New York. She sits on the powerful House Committee on Ways and Means, and among other committees out there. She's also the assistant whip for the GOP caucus. Congresswoman, it's great to have you back. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good to be with you, Chris.
We're told we must talk about Minnesota first, right? We're told that we must basically gear the news cycle in our coverage as a response to what the Democrats are up to. So here they are, promoting lawlessness and fighting to keep criminal illegal aliens in our country. And they are encouraging their followers to show up armed and to confront ICE agents. What are your thoughts on what's transpired over the weekend?
Look, what happened is absolutely terrible. And the problem that people need to recognize here is that the reason why ICE is in these cities, the reason why they have to conduct these raids, the reason why they're doing this in the open street is because they're not getting cooperation from local municipalities. If you had the local law enforcement had the ability to just simply turn over these criminals when they're released from jail, right? And they turn them over for deportation, it would be an easy transaction. These people would be put into federal custody and they would be removed from our country. The problem is you have municipalities, mine included, New York City, that unfortunately are releasing these hardened criminals onto the streets. Now, I took a look at who they were arresting over the past week in Minneapolis. And this is all on their website. They disclose the people and the crimes that they've committed. And these are convicted people. They had two convicted murderers who had final orders for removal going back to 2013 and 2015. They had somebody who had committed sodomy against a 12-year-old girl. They had a guy that had 24 different convictions. They had a multitude of rapists, of child molesters, and other violent individuals. Now, the question is, why do the cities insist on allowing these people to be released back onto the streets, and why do they want to keep them in their municipalities? New York, by the way, Chris, New York's no different. You had 7,000 individuals released onto the streets, the worst of the worst. And ICE has to go now in there and find them, which makes it much more dangerous for the law enforcement and for the public.
Yeah, and then you've got ABC fake news, CBS fake news getting out there talking about this incident with the 5-year-old child, where they declared that ICE was detaining a 5-year-old child, when in reality what happened is the illegal aliens abandoned the 5-year-old child, leaving ICE to protect the child. What is your reaction to, number one, I think the Republicans have always been bad at this. The Republicans' inability to properly message and basically describe everything that you just said, which is look at all the bad people that we're targeting who the Democrats are defending. No, the narrative over news press and the Democrats are forcing Republicans to talk on their terms, saying, oh, defend yourselves. And it's all propaganda that they're generating. Would you speak to both those, the messaging from the Republicans and the fake news press?
Yeah, I think more people do need to go out there and explain the type of criminals that ICE is out there arresting. I mean, we're talking about, I just laid out a list for you, but like other members need to be doing that same thing. Yeah. And the problem is we don't have the media on our side. It is hard to explain what they're actually trying to do and who they're trying to get and why they need to do it in the middle of the street, because local municipalities are not cooperating, because we don't have the media willing to echo that. I mean, the truth, right? And so and social media has made it very difficult, because you don't know what's true, what's not. You scroll on Twitter and you don't know what's reality. And so I think that the more we get out there to expose what they're trying to do and how local municipalities and states are hindering that, and they are the ones that are making it more dangerous of an operation. Because again, if they just simply turn them over when they release them from jail, quietly turn them over, allow them to be in ICE custody and deported from the country as opposed to this show in the middle of the street, everybody would be better off.
Indeed. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, our guest right now, folks, 11th Congressional District in New York. Let's get back to Capitol Hill. For the first time since 1997, the House of Representatives has achieved 12 appropriation bills. It's called regular order. But now the Senate, because it has been, hasn't even bothered to, according to Senator Kennedy, hasn't even bothered to start on a second reconciliation package. The Senate, which has allowed 200 House bills to just languish, the Republican Senate to just languish over there out of deference to leftists and Marxists. And now you're hearing the Democrats saying because of another, what it appears to be a justified shooting in Minnesota, because of this, they're going to shut the government down again. Your thoughts on what's going on up on Capitol Hill?
Well, I think it's very frustrating for those of us in the House who have really passed a lot of good pieces of legislation that are within the president and our campaign promises of making our country safe again, making it secure again, making it affordable again. And they do go over to the Senate, unfortunately not being brought for a vote. Even if they were to fail in the Senate, the public deserves to know how their senator votes on these very important issues that affect their daily lives and will put more money in their pockets and make their families safer. So I also urge the Senate to take up these measures and let's see where our senators and representatives stand. Now, with regards to the funding mechanisms, we actually had done, our appropriations team did an amazing job working with all of us, funneling the priorities of the membership to put together a funding package that, if we don't do this, if we don't pass this, we're going to have to fund the government using, Biden, Pelosi era figures. That's not really what we want to see happen, right? We have now been in power for a year. We need to have a budget that reflects that. And so we're hoping that the Senate will take this up. And what I'll say to my colleagues on the Democrat side, like my own U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, who wants to hold up this package and perhaps shut down the government, is if the Homeland Security piece, ICE has its resources from reconciliation. The Homeland Security piece that they want to use to shut down the government would actually affect TSA agents, the folks that screen our folks going on in the airport to make our flights safe from terrorism, all other counterterrorism programs, cybersecurity, the Coast Guard, which does an amazing job protecting our shoreline from threats. They're going to be actually defunding some really critical components of our Homeland Security, and they're doing it for politics. And I understand they want to see changes to President Trump's policy. Shutting down the government and putting us in jeopardy of Homeland Security issues is certainly not the way to do it.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time Democrats have have abandoned the safety and security of our people to advance their politics. That's kind of what they do. They don't mind how many Americans, by example of the criminal illegal aliens, how many Americans are killed or raped or suffer massive crimes against them, as long as they get their way politically. That's just the Democrat Party. Let me ask you a political question, because as you know, the Republicans on the Senate side notoriously dragging their feet. They appear to be running out the clock so they can stop the America First agenda of President Trump in collusion with the Democrats. What's missing, in my opinion, is House Republicans calling out these Senate Republicans by name in an election year. Their inaction, their inactivity, their lack of commitment to our people and what's supposed to be the Republican platform, that's what's missing. There is no, I've said this for so many years, Congresswoman, you know me, there are no unifying principles in the Republican Party. Hell, your party can't even unite to oppose socialism. It's that bad. So why won't we see, because I don't believe we will, why won't we see some of these senators being called out by members of Congress who are sick and tired of this run out the clock game and keeping the Democrats going as a viable political party rather than finally delivering the defeat they deserve?
Well, I think honestly, it's the Senate leadership that they're the ones that have to bring these bills to the floor. And I obviously, when senators vote a certain way, we should call them out if they're voting the wrong way. And President Trump has done a great job of using his platform to do that.
Yes.
But look, in my view, I think every member of Congress should be calling out their own senators from their own state. Unfortunately, I have Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, so they're always doing the wrong thing.
Right.
But Chuck Schumer, and we did a good job of exposing the Schumer shutdown as his fault, not wanting to give the votes for a same funding package that he had previously supported and extended 4 times. It was ludicrous. So, look, I think you'll see the president doing more of that. Members of Congress should be calling out their own senators, but really, Leader Thune has to bring these bills to the floor for a vote. And I don't understand why he's not doing it. Is he afraid that they will fail? Let them fail then. Let them fail and let the public understand where their senator stands. Because you're right, there are Republican senators who don't side with the House and who do vote down important pieces of legislation, and they should be exposed for it.
Yeah, we've invited Leader Thune to come on to the Chris Salcedo show. Apparently, a conversation with your liberty-loving Latino isn't high on his list, so he repeatedly turns this show down, and I think I'm beginning to understand why. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis is our guest right now, folks. The 11th Congressional District in the great state of New York, the once great state of New York. Congresswoman, I've got to talk about what's happening with your district. The left-wingers have decided to gerrymander even more severely what's going on in New York to deny many Republican voters a representation in Congress. We here in Texas are balancing, in my opinion, balancing out our maps to more properly reflect the majority, the voting majority here in Texas, finally giving the Democrats some of their own medicine. But it may, what the Democrats are doing in New York may impact your district. Tell us what's going on.
Look, here in New York, I'm the only Republican that represents our city in Washington. And I flipped this seat in 2020. I am a majority maker. This is a very important seat for the whole country. Why? Number one, because I'm in a major media market where I've got AOC, Jerry Nadler, Hakeem Jeffries is a neighboring district to me, Chuck Schumer lives in Brooklyn, a part that I represent. And, of course, you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Mandani, the whole crew. And so you need someone in this media market pushing back, explaining the facts, and calling them out. When Jerry Nadler tried to pack the Supreme Court and introduce that bill, I was out there slamming this bill.
Yep.
So much so that it went national, and Nancy Pelosi said, we're not bringing this bill to the floor anymore. And we were able to kill the bill right then and there. Now, they're trying to obviously eliminate me now because they do not want anyone holding them accountable. And so what they've tried to do here in New York is target my district, saying it disenfranchises Latinos and African Americans. And here's the kicker. One, I'm the first Hispanic to actually represent the district. I'm half Cuban. My mother is a Cuban refugee who fled in 1959. And the second thing is their proposed solution was to put Staten Island with Lower Manhattan to pack it with more white liberals. How is that going to protect the interests of the minority community? And so we are fighting it. We lost the first round in court. And why? Because the judge happens to be a former chief of staff and legal counsel to Governor Kathy Hochul. But we intend, we will appeal this, and we intend that we will prevail at the end of the day, and because we will preserve the people's voice in this district. New York City will never have another Republican representing this district or representing the city if we don't protect this one sole district that I believe is the voice of reason for the city of New York.
Congresswoman, may I suggest just to your attorneys, when they go back to court and the Democrats make their absurd claim that having a Republican in that district would be disenfranchising Latinos and blacks, isn't their assumption that if you're black or Latino, you must be a Democrat? Isn't that assumption in and of itself racist? As if Latinos couldn't, and by the way, the 2024 election disproves this, as if Latinos couldn't vote any other way other than Democrat, as if blacks couldn't vote any other way than Democrat. Their assumptions that their entire predication for this district itself, they are racist in their assumptions that they want to make these changes. So I would just suggest that, because the real racists, as you and I both know, are Democrats, are the left wingers, are the divisive ones in this country.
Oh yeah, they want to pack a district with more white liberals to take out the first Hispanic to represent the district. Makes
Yep.
sense of that. And people who want to help us in this legal fight, please go to Nicole4ny.com. We could use all the help we need because this is going to take multiple rounds. It may very well even go to the U.S. Supreme Court, Chris.
Okay, give that website one more time.
Nicole4ny.com.
All right. Nicole Malliotakis, folks, Congresswoman, 11th District in the state of New York. Lady, it's always a pleasure. Happy New Year, and keep us posted.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.